Hey guys, MrPokke here. So I just want to make another quick little video for starsavior. This time basically how I beat the most annoying PVE endgame boss that I've ever matched, and that is gonna be the final boss in 28-36. I'll show you guys the exact setup that I'm gonna be using in just a second, which is gonna be seen from right here. Clarissa into Haiti. Actually, not Haiti. Yeah, it's gonna be Clarissa into Haiti into, I believe, Welt's Ashra as well as Bell. Yeah, so this is gonna be the setup that I'm gonna be running. We'll do a little bit of the actual run itself. It took me a lot of resets to actually get a run, so I can't do it live. But the entire premise of how the run itself actually works is that you want to make use of the action value delay that you're gonna be getting from Clarissa, which is very, very important because the way that the boss works is you cannot use a duplicate ultimate or skill back-to-back across multiple units. So if one of your unit casts your ultimate, your next unit cannot cast the ultimate because it will take way too much damage from the AoE. You will get what I'm saying in just a second, but the most important unit is pretty much gonna be my entire team, frankly speaking. There really is just no good replacement as of this current moment if you want to beat 28-36. Clarissa is almost non-negotiable because she is the one that gives us the action value delay from both the S3 as well as S2 if you cast the Nova Burst. Even her basic is gonna be helping her deal a little bit more Nova Burst damage, which is going to be very, very nice. And then for Haiti, it is pretty much going to be my preferred tank. I noticed that if you want to use Emily simply does not tank enough. And Haiti is going to be, personally speaking, the best tank that we have of this current moment, which is going to be working very, very well against the next upcoming boss. Welt's Ashra is just going to be there for overall DPS as well as more heals, action value advance, and a little bit more cleanse here and there. And then the very last one is definitely going to be Bell. The reason why you want to run Bell is because Bell has the ability to dispel the buff that the boss is gonna have, so you can actually remove the debuff, or rather the penalty you could do running a Bell S3, because this S3 actually does in fact remove the buff. So that is gonna include the thingy that the boss is gonna summon. The silence is not gonna be too important, but other than that, it's just gonna be using Bell's very, very high speed in tandem with Clarissa's action value delay to deal as much damage as possible using a basic, which will be then combining Welt's Ashra to basically get rid of the boss, right? So this is going to be the actual run itself, as you can see right here. Alright, so this is gonna be the actual fight itself. I'll just be commentating this as we go. It is roughly about 7 to 8 minutes, so it is gonna be taking quite a bit. If you do not want to do this method, you could do the infinite store with like all of the defenders and Haiti, but I don't have all that time. So the very, very first thing you want to take notice is that because of the brand new system with the burn, right, the more number of days you actually cannot clear this boss, you do get the additional damage percentage buff, which will be helping you a lot against Void Pilgrim. This is like the most annoying boss. So if there's gonna be a stage that you're gonna be stuck in, it might as well be 28-36. And another thing is, if you do unlock 28-36, you will then unlock the final difficulty farming for starsavior's gears. So if you are gonna be having the highest efficiency for your hunt quest, which is gonna be this difficult to 40, you have to beat 28-36 to actually get here. So that is why this stage is gonna be really, really important, right? So with that being established, the very first hit for my Bell is gonna be actually casting the S2, which will apply the accuracy down, and you can see this Forbidden Seal Realm, it will basically alternate. So now that my Bell has cast her S2, my Clarissa cannot cast S2. So your Clarissa, Welt's Ashra, and Haiti can only cast S3. Otherwise, it will do a absolutely insane team-wide damage that will be just way too much damage for your Ashra to heal. It is not a one-shot, but you can see how much damage it actually does later on when it eventually happens, right? So my Bell and Clarissa is going to be outspeeding, and I gave the leader to Clarissa so that we can get her to be as fast as possible to cast a little bit more action value delay, right? And this boss being weak to green, right, weak to star, is the main reason why we're going to be using Haiti, Clarissa, and Bell, because the additional toughness bar damage is going to be absolutely crucial for us when it comes to the run itself, right? So the very first S2 into our Clarissa S3, it is pretty straightforward. If your S3 somehow misses the crit and you do not get this action value delay, you pretty much just have to reset, so it is what it is. Then we are going to be going with our Welt's Ashra's AV Advance to pull out my team. One thing to notice over here is that my Dimension skill, right, this is going to be, I'm going to be using the Breaker, which is the exact same skill they use for PP, because you want action value advance specifically for your Clarissa, right? Every single action value advance possible if you can get, you can just use it, right? I actually use this instead of the toughness bar damage from the dimensional assault from the counter-strike ship, because having more action value causing a delay against Void Pilgrim is more important than actually dealing toughness bar damage by itself. So that's pretty much going to be that. And Hades is once again going to go for the S3 because we did open up with Bel's S2. Then from this part, it's going to be doing a 1-bit AoE. So because we do have the little bit of the accuracy down, it is not going to be as much damage, especially if he misses. But we do have the effect rest. Unfortunately, he did land the speed down on both my Bell as well as Clarissa, which is why my Welt's Ashra actually has to do the Soul Burn or Nova Burst S1 to get rid of the speed buff, because this is going to be a 2-turn speed buff, which is extremely annoying. But other than that, if your team cannot survive this very first hit, it means your team is just a little bit too squishy. So go back and train your units once again. Alright, then this hit is pretty much always going to be going for Hades based on probability. Then at this point, Bell can then let go of the S3 so that we can get rid of this buff as well. Then because we got rid of this buff, when Clarissa opens up her S2, it means that all of my other units cannot use their skill, right? They cannot use S2 anymore, otherwise we're going to be taking significant damage, right? As you can see right here. So that is also going to be another buff. If any of my unit would use a S2, then we're just going to take all the damage in the row, which doesn't really matter because the only one that will actually use S2 is pretty much going to be my Clarissa. Sometimes maybe Welt's Ashra, but because like I mentioned, we do have the 2-turn speed debuff, then my Welt's Ashra is just going to be going for the Nova Burst S1 to get rid of the speed debuff. Alright, and this is just going to go for the hit. Then Hades over here is just going to immediately pop open our shield, because if we do not pop open our shield, or rather our Hades is going to essentially break Bro's toughness bar so that I can push Bro all the way back. And see, because we're going to be using 3 different green units, the toughness bar actually goes up by a very significant amount. Okay, I actually went for the S2. Just know that if your Clarissa is not fast enough, definitely use your Hades basic over here to ensure that you actually get a toughness bar down. Because I did give my Clarissa leader and she has the speed bar from the S3, then it is not going to be too big on an issue to try to outspeed Void Pilgrim, right? So from here is going to be where Clarissa's basic is going to do our toughness bar damage. Then Welt's Ashra is going to be doing our sub DPS, and then from this point on, you just instantly let go of your Garden skill, so that you get the action really advanced for your entire team as fast as possible. Then from this point on, you just pretty much always spam basic, right? You never ever want to cast your skill because you're going to be hit with the penalty. Alright, so we're just going to be going for this. Right, you can see damage taken decreased by special skill is going to be decreased by 20%. And if you do land a special skill, you're going to be taking a significant amount of damage, which is why I just went for the basic. And then from this one, we're just going to be missing again. Did not land the AV debuff, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we're just going to carry on with our damage, right? Hades is going to hit again. Then Bell at this point is going to once again go for the basic, right? You do not want to cast your S2, just keep doing your basic. Your Welt's Ashra's follow-up attack is going to be stacking on very nicely. So after he takes a turn against Hades, you can see it is a lot of damage. And if that was Emily, there's a very good chance Emily was just going to one-shot there, as well as just dealing not enough toughness bar. So from this particular point is where you can start stacking on the rest of your unit's kit, such that they can let go of their own skills without taking a penalty, right? So for this particular point, because my Bell as well as Hades' ultimates are not up, I can then just instantly open up my Clarissa's ultimate. So the rest of my units can then use their S2, right? So this is going to be a debuff, right? Units taken when taken by ultimate skill. And if you use the ultimate, you are pretty much just going to almost die. So from this point, my Welt's Ashra can cast her S2, my Bell can cast her S2, as well as my Clarissa. After this guy takes his turn, can also cast her S2 later on. Right, so we're just going to take a little bit of hit. Then because we do get that, I'm just going to open up with Bell S2, while also giving my Bell an additional speed buff. Landing our accuracy down, which is very important. So from this point, because my Hades is dangerously low, you definitely want to use your Nova Burst for Hades basic. So this is going to come in for 2 times the bar. Goes for another follow-up attack. And then for Clarissa over here, if you were to use your S3 on any other unit, you would take. But because we use our Clarissa's S3, you can then open up very nicely into Clarissa's S2. If you wanted to greed a little bit more, you could actually use our Hades Nova Burst given to Clarissa instead, so you can get an AV delay. But because Hades was legitimately close to death, I used my very first Nova Burst for Ashra's basic to cleanse away the speed down, I am just going to be going for the normal S2. So we do land ourselves the speed buff, which is very nice. So ideally at this very point, if you can actually break his toughness bar right here with your units, that would be ideal, because it can actually give him the sufficient toughness bar such that you can also mark on this additional speed debuff for the rest of the team to deal damage. So we actually land this AV delay, which is very, very nice. Then at this point, Bell, if I were to cast my S3, while it will dispel this buff, I was thinking to myself that the rest of my units will not be taking damage, but I was actually mistaken, because even if my S3 right here dispels his buff, I actually still take damage. And you can see how much damage it's going to be, which is honestly very, very substantial. So this is going to come in. So you can see that I removed the effect, but my entire team still took 27,000, 25,000, and 26,000 damage. So that was a huge, huge, huge misplay on my end. But luckily for us, because of that little bit of HP that allowed me to survive, as well as me removing his buff, I also dealt a significant amount of toughness bar damage, which means that on Hades' next turn, we are essentially able to get myself the break right here. Alright, so from this point, we got our S3 to basically push Pro all the way back down, which is gonna be very, very nice for the rest of my team. So at this point, I basically have to pray that the two minions do not hit anyone here and they only hit Hades so that we can actually survive. So one hit is gonna be going for Asha, which is very, very close, and this is gonna be Hades, which is very, very nice. Then from here on out, we can then actually do our rest of the damage, right? So we're just gonna be letting go of our S1s and S2. You do not want to let go of any S3s anymore. Then from here, we're just gonna go for the AV Advance. And then we're just going to be going for the basic, right? Landing us another AV delay, which is very, very nice. And because of the speed debuff, you can see my Clarissa is actually able to let Barco once again, which is super, super good. Then Hades is just going to refresh this a little bit. So we get a lot more shield, as well as just dealing more toughness bar, or rather more shield damage for myself, because my burst is going to be full, and keeping my Hades at a very, very healthy level. Alright, then from this point, remember, you do not want to cast your ultimate, so you actually want to let go of your Clarissa's S2, right? You do not want to cast your ultimate, if your ultimate is just going to die. So S2, delay bro back further, which is going to be very, very good. Then at this point, Bell can also cast his her S2 as well, just for a little bit more damage. Now I was thinking to myself, do I want to Nova Burst to get rid of the worms, which I don't really think is going to be that necessary, because they don't really hit anyone as long as they hit Hades, right? Because Hades' health is very, very high, which is going to be fine. Then from here, I'm just going to go open with my Asha's S2. Very, very good. Then once again, do not cast your ultimate, just go for the basic. Alright, that's very, very nice. Gets another basic attack. Then your very, very important checkpoint is going to be coming right out of this turn. So from this point onwards, if you cannot kill him, that is where I believe you are going to get wiped. So at this point, it's just trying to deal as much damage as possible. Either that or deal enough toughness bar damage to break his shield, right? So from here, we can actually cast our Clarissa's S3 for a very, very nice amount of action, very delay. So my Hades is just going to be opening up her S1, so that I can get a little bit more shield and making sure that I can actually survive this, which is very, very important. Then Clarissa opens up the S3 for the additional AV delay. Alright, so this is going to go. As long as it crits, it's going to be fine. So lands the AV delay, pushing us all the way back down, which is very, very good. Then Welt's Asha is just going to keep doing that. And then my Hades' health is going to be completely fine. So remember, you do not want to cast your Bell's ultimate, so only go for the basic. Alright, then after this skill, when the worm is gonna hit my Hades, my Clarissa is pretty much gonna cast one more S2, bringing us another AV delay, as well as basically getting us the kill once my Clarissa takes the next action, right? So that is essentially how you want to deal with Void Pilgrim. As long as you can deal enough damage before his next skill right here, you should be able to clear this. But as of right now, unless you have a better suggestion to replace Clarissa, which I frankly speaking, I don't think there's anywhere close to a suggestion considering the green element, I think this is going to be a very, very annoying fight because of how restrictive you are with your S2 into S3, right? So with that, right, Captain Pokke was the first to clear, and that is pretty much going to be our 28-36 cleared right here, right? So I'm going to be showing you guys the build in just a second, which is going to be right here. So this is going to be the Clarissa, right? The exact same speed with the little bit of the EHR. Journey is going to be like this. Alright, you can kind of use it for your own reference. Go a little bit more clear from there. Bell is going to be... Okay, this Bell build is honestly pretty interesting. I kind of want to take a little bit more time because I actually sacrificed my Bell's Stigmata of Speed to give her her own signature arcana. You can see here. Okay, this Bel's signature Arcana. It is a very, very nice situation. I actually built this very, very long ago. You can see I haven't even gotten Tira's Arcana yet. So I'm using like the baseline Lin, which is like super, super far away. For this particular Arcana, it actually does quite well into PvE content because you can get a 25% crit rate every single time Bell uses her basic. So if you're going to be using her in PvE content, this can give you a lot of value, essentially equivalent to a permanent crit rate up, almost, because it's 25%. So I actually use this instead of Stigmata of Speed, and I just stack on as much crit rate as possible from these two Arcanas, and I still stuck with my Bell's PvP gear unchanged as the 4-piece speed as well as the 2-piece hit rate, right? So other than that, this gear is going to be the exact same gear that I'm using for PvP. If you want to optimize your belt a little bit more, you could consider running 4-piece crit rate as well as a little bit more speed subsets, but I find myself quite comfortable running this with a 218, 59% crit rate, which plus the 25% in battle is going to be 84%, which is more than sufficient for PvP content. The Hades is going to be full defense, not too much to say, just take on as much defense as possible, and that is pretty much done so. And then this is going to be my Welt's Ashura, basically a PvE Welt's Ashura for a little bit of HP and endurance, going for the 4-piece insight just for as much damage as I can, 198 speed with 87% crit rate, right? So with that, I have come to the end of how do you beat pretty much the most difficult story stage, I would say, at 28-36. And once you actually beat this boss, you are able to unlock the hardest difficulty of farming for your gears, which means you're going to be at the highest efficiency, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Word of the day is going to be difficult. Join Discord, use code PORT, famous subs. All the best, guys, fools, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, thank you.